But it's okay. We only have like 3 people watching anyway, so whatever.
It's like every time we say we're going to start at the 7, we're like, yeah, it's 7:20. Fuck it, let's get going. Yeah. Anyway. So,
what up?
I guess we are here. We are live. Let's get it going. It's like Matt Ram here. Rated M for Mature. Another excellent weekend podcast. I'm here with my partners in crime. Got Andy Man.
What up?
Wow, bassy. And then we got the good old Phil Stop.
Nerf this!
Where the fuck did that come from?
That's one of DVA's lines from Overwatch.
Oh, God. Wow. Is that the thing? Is that a thing?
That's my main. That's my main right there.
I can't even look at it right now.
DVA. I'm a tank.
Was not expecting that.
I'm looking at the other tank classes too. So what's up? Tank champions.
So, speaking of Overwatch and just in general, that game is fan-fucking-tastic from what I'm hearing from the two of you guys. I'm fucking reluctant to actually buy it. I plan on getting it soon anyway.
Buy that shit, yo.
Oh, yeah. I am. Just for the latest character that they dropped. But that alone right there, it makes me think of like all the games that have been released lately. And it's like, to me, like I just feel like it's been like the year of the FPS, if that makes any sense to you guys. Like so many of great first-person shooters and it have just dropped and just have been so successful. I mean, you're looking at like games like Overwatch, clearly. You got, more recently you're looking at the Call of Duty that just came out.
You said duty.
I did say duty.
Duty.
and like Titanfalls and like even non like first person shooters have been phenomenal. Like the Gears series is like back on its feet again since like what, like early 2013.
Yeah,
I mean, like, but I mean, like when you think about it though, I mean, it's not just the FPS. FPS has come a long goddamn way from back in the days on the PC. If you guys remember a little old schooler known as Doom. The free play, the first of many like first person shooters that came out. I'm like, yes, Wolfenstein was first, but I mean like Doom really set a huge tone. And then you got stuff like what we got here, Duke Nukem, which was that next, like it was like Doom on like crank. It was like fast paced, hardcore music, and just like ass kicking, shit talkers all day. I mean, like you guys can relate. I mean, everyone's played Doom. I don't know anyone who's not played Doom or Duke Nukem.
Yep. I played that many years ago, and I've largely forgotten most of it because I played it when I was a kid at a friend's house because my dad, he was a computer programmer, so the computers were for him to do work on, and the only time I got to play video games on them was Microsoft Flight Simulator because he played that, and he would allow me to also play it sometimes, and that's pretty much as far as it went. So my very, very young days of gaming were unfortunately very, very limited. Primarily Oregon Trail at school, or Super Mario, or Sonic at a friend's house, and that was pretty much it.
Wow, Phil. I mean, you dabbled in some Doom and Duke Nukem back in the days.
Absolutely. My fondest memory of Doom is playing, then turning the corner, then screwing my arse off because I see a giant Wookiee chasing after me. And all I got is this gun, and it's this Wookiee who's really, really mad at me, chasing me, coming after me. I was like, what the fuck? I was like a little kid, so I didn't say what the fuck, but Yeah, that was really basic. That was the sound of my turd dropping when I saw that Wookiee mad at me.
I mean, like, it's such an amazing thing when you look at it, and then like those type of games themselves were like they were first-person shooters, but they were flat when you think about it, because there wasn't the graphic power of like PCs at that time weren't like as advanced as they've gotten to be now, where shit's so lifelike you swear you just like like just curb stomp some dude like in a cyber setting. But you look at games that like kind of like stepped outside that and actually expanded upon that first person view and took it to that next level of not just a single player, but we're looking at like that multiplayer aspect, that really brought, FPSs, to the next level. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who's ever touched this game, but I'm talking about like GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64, 007.
So much time.
Oh my God. So many like angry moments.
Hours and hours and hours and hours of slappers.
That game ended friendships. That game caused divides in the family.
Walls. It ruined controllers.
Everyone has a story of completely losing their mind in a game of a 4-player match, and some asshole in the group decides to play Odd Job.
Such an asshole.
I'm just saying. I mean, like, Phil, I know you've touched this. You had to have touched some GoldenEye.
Absolutely, I played Odd Job because I was like, dude, that's me.
You were that guy. You were that guy.
I want a beard just like his when I grow up.
That is my people. That is my guy. I play for a video game.
Exactly. It was like, oh my God, it's an Asian guy in a game. I must play it. So that's how I was.
But you know what I mean? Like it was a huge step forward in the first person. God, Phil, I swear to God, there's never a time where someone's not out to get you.
Dude, I'm just that sexy. They gotta arrest me.
It's a crime that you're that sexy. God, Lord.
But I get what you touched on, and GoldenEye was huge as far as marketing the video game industry and creating that competitiveness with a bunch of players. I mean, on the 64, it was 4 people only that could play on one console, and then you were having like tournaments, LAN parties where people would bring in the N64s, and you would have these 4-on-4s again, and they make their way to the final 2, the final 4. So it was great for competition.
Yeah. It was really like the original multiplayer game. I mean, granted, there were technically ones before that, but specifically with first-person shooters, like what we have right now with multiplayer online and the current Call of Duty and Titanfall and all of that, which we'll get into later. But what GoldenEye did was it brought people into a singular location and they played against each other in real time, which before that it wasn't something that really even existed. For the most part, there was some stuff where you could do one-on-one, but especially with the N64, because it was really the first console that allowed 4 people to be connected at one time. It was really the first console that enabled people to be able to play 4 people at a time, and it allowed that type of multiplayer competition to just run around and fuck people up and tell them how fucking stupid they are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It really brought out that competitive nature in games. The PC shooters didn't get like a multiplayer aspect or like a LAN situation until like way later after like Doom 2, and even then like it really didn't blow up until like Half-Life started coming about, and that's when like I know you would know more about this than I would when it came to the PC master race and their modifications to games to make them more exciting. And I know you know what I'm talking about when it comes to Half-Life.
Yep. So Half-Life I played actually a couple of years after I started playing Counter-Strike. It was many, many, many years ago, and probably there's going to be multiple people in our audience that have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. But there were internet cafes, and they were super ratty. They were set up on those long folding tables where you had 3 computer monitors, CRT monitors, not flat screen monitors, not LCDs or LEDs.
This is back in the day.
These were back. This was before September 11th. That's how long ago this was. This was 2001. This was the summer of 2001 when I first got introduced to it. So you would show up and they had like 40 computers in a room, and it was in basically just like this tiny little like a spot inside a strip mall, and they basically just rented it out, and they charge people like $1 an hour to come in and they'd play for however long or whatever, and they'd sell soda and candy and shit like that, and there'd be fast food down the street that people would go and get. But yeah, Counter-Strike was really my introduction to really online gaming. I mean, there was a lot of GoldenEye that I played with a bunch of friends on N64, but Counter-Strike was my introduction to competitive gaming and to online gaming. I mean, granted, competitive gaming was several years later, but Counter-Strike is my shit. I don't even want to think about how much money I wasted paying to go to internet cafes before I built my first computer myself. But I would conservatively say $7,000 or $8,000 over a couple of years spent playing. Yeah, well,
that's dedication, man.
I was really good. I would practice no scoping with the op.
For those who are unaware, the no scoping is basically when you take a sniper rifle gun that's normally used at long range, and you literally focus through the little scope that's on it to get precision shots. No scoping is basically using the gun without actually zooming in or looking through the scope itself and picking off people as if you did look through that scope. It's like, it's hard as balls to do because you only get one shot before you have to reload again. It takes some skill to get that right.
I practice that for fun.
We call it shooting from the hip nowadays.
Yes. Yeah. It's the old West style of just pulling the trigger and hitting your mark without having to actually aim because you're just that good. Phil, you've played your fair share of Counter-Strikes. If I'm correct to assume that?
Absolutely. I sucked.
There you go, everybody. Phil, stop. Counter-Strike.
The maps were large for its time, and there's a lot of places to hide. It's a really good game. I really dug it, but I just wasn't that good. I was playing Street Fighter, and I was playing lots of Street Fighter in the early 90s and all through the 90s, and more Street Fighter into the 2000s. A lot of Madden too, and basketball when the Dreamcast was put out. But a lot of nights crying and wondering why I sucked.
Now there was a time later on where it started to kind of like die down and kind of like lose its luster of like appeal, and then like next thing you know, online gaming became a big thing. Everyone had that DSL dial-up, what have you, and like games like that came out after the fact took again. This is that evolution of a shooter from the time on the PC where it's just you by yourself to the playing on console with your 4 buddies to going to internet cafes and LAN partying and connecting with people in that area. You look at when the age of internet became a staple. First-person shooters jumped well on that, and I'm talking about games like Medal of Honor. Those were like the first ones I remember playing online with. And I'm speaking on like the original like Medal of Honor series, where you're storming the beaches of Normandy and all this other stuff here. I'm not sure if I'm the only one who's ever touched that one there. Guys, where are you at on that?
Yeah, Medal of Honor was one of the games that I really did not spend a lot of time on because I was pretty busy with Counter-Strike, both competitively and non-competitively for about 6 years. I really didn't play much else. For pretty much from 2002 through about 2008, I really was primarily focused on Counter-Strike, and I was playing in Cyber Athletic League, or CAL, which was really the first legitimate organized Cyber Athletic League, and then CPO, which was for the professional league. And the internet cafe that I would go to, there would be a lot of national and international teams that would come in and they would practice at that internet cafe specifically. So at the time, there was a Canadian team that came through, and they were ranked number 3 in the world in Counter-Strike, and they hung out for a couple of weeks, and I got to scrimmage against them a couple of times and basically get my ass handed to me, and basically completely learned that while I am very, very good in a lot of ways, there are a lot of other ways that I am not so good. And yeah, that was humbling to learn the difference between a professional and a amateur.
Well, that goes without saying, because everyone thinks they're top stuff until they compete against the professional leagues, if you will, and that ties into more of the slow birth of esports and Major League Gaming. That was, as far as I was concerned, only in the PC world. That never coincided into my realm, which was like the console world, till way later, which we'll get into in a bit. But I'm speaking on here because it also ties in with Medal of Honor in the sense that it was the birth of internet play as well, where people don't have to go to the internet cafes as much. I mean, it all depends on how good your internet connections were, because back in the day, internet was hard to come by, and most people had really bad connections because you had to pay to play. And then you look at as the shooters evolved. I mean, I think the best thing I can say here is Medal of Honor brought in that online play, but also incorporated story. Now, when we're talking about story and stuff like that here, it's most people see storylines that follow with action adventure games and stuff like that, but first-person shooters got a great storyline in the Half-Lives, Medal of Honors, and then in Tom Clancy's. The games that came from that, because if I'm not mistaken, Tom Clancy was an author.
Yes,
so he wrote books, and then his game publisher took that and ran with it as a playable kind of I don't want to say a live novel type of gameplay, but I mean it had fantastic story with great action in the shooting realm, and it brought a lot to light when it came to that. It's more than just going out and just guns ablazing and hoping for the best type of thing. You had to really think about what you're going to do. I can't really speak too much on the Rainbows, on the not Rainbows, but the Tom Clancy line. Phil, I know you are a huge fan of the Tom Clancy series.
The original Tom Clancy games, not only were they a first-person shooter, they were also very strategic. Before you could play any op, you had to set waypoints, and this was before Rainbow Six made it to the console. It was all on the PC, and you had to set waypoints. You had to complete the mission with the least amount of bloodshed. So it was a very tactical type of shooter. But it tied into the story that was going on, and it almost released every time he released a book.
Yeah, and it always seemed to go that route from my series whenever a new Tom Clancy came out. For those of you who've never heard of one, like Barnes and Nobles and what was the other bookstores out there? It was regardless, but I mean, you would find these books at those stores, and right away at some point that's going to be turned into a game of some sort, which usually is what happened. Fantastic gameplay from what I can remember, because I played the console versions. I have never played the PC ones because I was poor and can't afford a decent computer to play these types of games. I mean, when it came to the Medal of Honors, I had to go to my friend's house. Because not only did he have the computer to play, but he also had the money, the funds to have DSL, which was a lot stronger than your traditional dial-up at that time. But then you look at games that finally the console world started coming back with their shooters, and you look at games in the modern day of Tom Clancy's, and even more so with Call of Duty that hit the PlayStation 2s and the Xbox consoles, and even more so with the Halo line. Halo incorporated the consoles with the online world, and also brought those console gamers to the competitive scene that the PC master race has been dominating for ever. And they finally got their chance to show that, you know, the console gamers aren't as like weak compared to the PC gamers when it came to the first-person shooters. I only speak personally on the Halo line because I did play that one. I did play in a pseudo-competitive scene. I wasn't as good, which even to this day, I'm still absolute trash at it. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competitive level. You shut your mouth over there.
I didn't even say shit. You can't even tell me to shut my mouth because I didn't say nothing. I just shook my head.
So it was another step in evolutionary process for the shooting game world, where they brought the console gamers to the online, to the competitive scene, to the major leagues, if you will. I'm not sure how many of you guys can really speak on them because I know a lot of you guys prefer the PC line as opposed to the console shooter. But that's a topic for another day when it comes to that. But I feel like now, like you look at the shooters themselves, we're talking first persons, which is basically meaning that you are the actual shooter. All you see is what's in front of you and the gun that you're carrying. So it's like literally you are the player, so to speak. But there was more than shooters than that when it came to that genre. And I believe games like Gears of War have really changed that, thought process that shooters in a third person aren't just an action adventure, but an actual strategic, team-based gunner. Phil, I know you recently did a game review on Gears of War 4, and I know you have played Gears of War in the past, just as I have. Can you recall those times when it was like playing in the competitive scene, or at least the online scene, of how vicious people can get?
Absolutely. The thing with excuse me, TPS's third-person shooters is it's more cover-based than an actual first-person shooter. In a first-person shooter, you could kneel down and go prone, but you couldn't really use your cover effectively. You're a lot of running and seeking a position where you could stay, at least I did in first-person shooters, stay out of sight and still get the opportunity to shoot someone with a high-powered rifle. This is why I didn't do so well in Counter-Strike, is because there wasn't enough room for me to stay safe. And this is also why I kind of suck in first-person shooters. Like, when you guys watch me play Titanfall and you run around with a big, giant sniper rifle, I just wasn't safe, So
yeah.
I run around with a pistol. But with a third-person shooter, it's more cover-based, and you can strategically move about using the cover to get in position. You could also hide yourself from your opponent and sneak around and go in for a brutal melee kill. And that's where things got really exciting, especially in competitive Gears of War. People hate the shotgun in Gears of War because that thing will cut you down so fast, and all the blood splashing is amazing. That's what set apart Gears of War from other types of shooters, was the gore value in Gears of War. And when you go over there and you come around a corner and shotgun somebody and he's left as two pieces on the floor, that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, you didn't even have to teabag him at that point.
I think most of the melee kills were more than enough because they were slow, they were gruesome, and it was also the first in the shooting realm that actually stepped the game up when it came to the graphic output. That was the first one to start using the Unreal Engine outside of Unreal Tournament. Another first-person shooter. Which is more known for, it's more known for its engine than it is for the game itself. Yeah,
that's how good the engine is.
Yes.
But as good as Gears of War is, there are two games specifically that I wanted to make sure that we touched on because they were around this general area in the early 2000s, in that like 2000 through 2003, 2004 time frame. And those two games are Wolfenstein, which if you're not familiar with what those are, it's a first-person shooter that takes place in the World War I, World War II era in the mid 1900s, like 1930s, 1940s. Primarily, and basically you're just trying to go through different versions of the game had different aspects, but Castle Wolfenstein basically takes place in a castle and you're basically just running around and just trying to find shit to fuck up. But the other game that came out, and I honestly did not realize that this game released in, believe it or not, November 15th, 2001, so this game is about to turn 15 years old.
Damn,
that would be the original Halo.
This is true.
I actually thought that it was actually 2004 or 2005, and I am stunned as I sit here and look at it, that it was released the day after Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon, believe it or not, but was November 15th, 2001 for the original Xbox, not the 360, the big giant neon green box that looked super weird, and nobody really knew about it for about 3 years or more until it wound up becoming popular, but yeah, Halo was, I think, one of the first console games that really took first-person shooters and said, okay, we see what you are, but we think we can do something completely different and exactly the same, but completely reinvent the entire genre. And Halo, as most people know, if they've been playing games or any first-person shooters at all, was a industry shifting title. It completely changed console first person shooters, and it really took the bar and it raised it up an entire level and made everyone else have to do better. And I believe because of that, you wound up with better Battlefield games. You wound up with the Call of Duty franchise. You wound up with so many other games that wound up getting better specifically because of what Halo did, and especially with their multiplayer. Once Halo came out on the 360, and you're able to do online multiplayer through Live. But even still, on the original Xbox, you could actually daisy chain Xboxes together and do multiplayer that way, which not a lot of people knew that you could do that.
Well, let me put in perspective for those who are listeners here when we're speaking on Halo. Halo was pretty much the only reason the Xbox has a life, because it was its main launch title. It was just what they promoted the most of when it came to the console itself. If that game failed, the console would have died. Microsoft would have not continued on in the console world if that did not make.
Castle Wolfenstein did release 8 days after Halo, but yes, Halo was the big exclusive game to Xbox that really tried to bring people to it, and they had other games that tried to bring people in, specifically like like Castle Wolfenstein, which people were already familiar with that from PC gaming. They were just basically Microsoft was trying to bring people over to the console side just to try and do things a little differently.
Yeah. Like you were saying there, that brought the console world to multiplayer gaming. It was the one that evolved online console gaming to what it is now. It was because of Halo 2 that there's an Xbox Live. I mean, it was its main selling point when it was released, outside of the storyline itself. Yep. Anyone who ever bought Halo 2 had Xbox Live because it came with it. It came with a little card inside it there that's pretty much says, here's how you get online. Done. It was fantastic to be able to play with your buddies that, because hauling an Xbox around everywhere is a daunting task.
Pain in the ass.
I don't know about anyone else here. I'm pretty sure every one of us has been part of a Xbox LAN party, and hauling your shit everywhere is fucking. It's like college students now carrying all their books around. That's how heavy and massive and awkward it was. Yeah.
So much worse.
But yeah, to Andy's point there, it it changed the way the gaming industry made shooters. Hands down. It everything else has took what Halo's done and made it their own, either stepping up to certain areas or taking what Halo's done and moving that to the next level. And then you look at it's to the point now where you're seeing stuff like the Titanfalls, the Call of Duties, and hell, even Overwatch, which in itself is its own technically its own genre. Yes, it's a first-person shooter, but at the same time, it's also a battle arena style game. And then you guys, Andy Man and Phil, stop. They can talk for days. Overwatch.
Oh, we have.
I think every podcast Overwatch is mentioned at least once.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about this decade from 2000 to 2010 is it brings about the biggest comparison in competitive sports that's ever been talked about, and that's going to be console versus PC in the shooter environment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your twitch factor on your keyboard and mouse is going to be a lot more responsive, but there's also players on the console who are very competitive using the tools that they have. And then in this era, with the dawn of the Xbox and Xbox 360, the PS3, the graphics are also getting on par with computers at that time. So now you're looking at two platforms that are fairly similar in specs and in graphics, and it's getting very competitive. Mm-hmm. So in this decade, the competitiveness just starts to grow and boil over. This is a very important decade in video gaming as a whole, and shooters were the main factor in this decade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're looking like we mentioned in the beginning of the show itself. You're looking at games like Overwatch. You're looking at Call of Duty. Was Infinity Wars?
Yep.
Infinity Warfare. Infinity Warfare, not Infinity Wars. Infinity Wars is Marvel. Marvel, if you're listening, we love you.
You apologize. You apologize right now.
And you're looking at like games like Titanfall and Overwatch, huge blockbusters. I cannot, stress enough how much I love Titanfall. I've loved it since its initial release, when it came out almost like 2 years ago. No, even way before that, because I was actually because I used to work at the retail store at Microsoft, and I ran that launch event. Yes, I'm doing this. I ran that launch event, and it was considered one of the best launch events we ever had in our store. Just for the turnout, the atmosphere itself, people loved it. People wanted to run and gun and pilot a giant mech. Hands down, that was its key point. And then Titanfall 2 took it to that next step to give you multiple different ways of playing mechs now, multiple different ways of playing the ground game, being strategic about how you maneuver about. It's a goddamn amazing, and I recommend it to anybody to play, whether it's PlayStation, whether you have PlayStation or Xbox, PC. Get it. It's fantastic. And I'm pretty sure this also goes all along the lines of Overwatch. And I'm not sure. I haven't played any of the Call of Duty stuff. I know Andy's that way. but
we're getting ahead of ourselves. I think so. I think what's really important to mention, because I'm sure that there are people that are watching, and I think it's important to have an understanding of where gaming is coming from, and especially within the first-person shooter genre, because 2000 through 2010, you saw an entire paradigm shift in what gaming looked like. Prior to 2000, everything was on PC. I mean, there was some stuff in PlayStation and PlayStation 2, but primarily what you had was gaming was PC-based. And you go on Wikipedia and you look up first-person shooter, a list of first-person shooter games, and prior to 2000, everything is Windows. Everything is DOS. Everything is Mac. There was no real major console foothold. And then what you saw happen is once the Xbox came out, there was competition in the space that wasn't Nintendo, which was primarily Mario and PlayStation, which was, I mean, it was PlayStation and PlayStation 2 were great consoles. I had both of them. They were fantastic for what they were. But what Microsoft did is they took PC level hardware and put it into a console that you could connect it to your TV and you could play video games on. And if that doesn't happen, I honestly don't believe that the way that gaming culture is right now, I don't think it exists. And it's certainly not in the size that it is right now, where you have millions upon millions of people and billions of dollars of revenue generated every single year from video games. And and even if you break it down further than that, you look at specifically, I would say probably 2003, 2004, and 2005. That's when, I mean, normally you have, like a trend, stuff just kind of goes along, and then there's something happens, and it just kind of kicks everything up. And that was about the time when stuff really started to take off, and I believe it was in large part due to World of Warcraft came out, which is not a first-person shooter, but that was a game that saw upwards of 16 million subscribers at one point in their history. Yep. No shit, almost 16 million subscribers. Yeah, do the math. That's $185 million a month or some stupid shit like that. They were farting money. They had just money coming everywhere. But that's about the time when you saw competitive gaming start to take a foothold in CAL and CPL, and you saw World of Warcraft start making an impact. And there were other games along that, but those two things primarily, I believe, are what really caused a titanic paradigm shift to increase the awareness and the interest of the consumer at large in gaming.
Right.
It was actually really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I think all of us have been a part of that in one way or another. I feel like, at least like when it comes to the console realm, is that getting your first Xbox and then turning it on, and then seeing the graphic turn on of the little, it looked like kind of like a gelatin, just like kind of being shocked and morphed, and then you get the Xbox logo. It's something that you wouldn't expect out of a console, because most consoles they just like bam, here's game. I think PlayStation's probably the only one that actually does have like its own initial startup thing saying, hey, here's PlayStation. But like Xbox really made it more animated, more fluid to be like, this is the next generation of gaming. At the time, of course, and then they even took it a step further when they dropped the Xbox 360, and then now I'm not sure how everyone else feels about that, but it's like consoles nowadays are roughly almost no different from one another. It's become more of an exclusive type of thing. But
there's parity, I think, is the word you're looking for.
There it is, the word. Parity. Parrot.
Not a parrot.
Sorry.
Not a parrot.
Off.
They don't squawk or nothing. Nothing.
You don't know that. You don't know what my Xbox does.
That's true. I really don't. I don't know if I want to know if your Xbox.
Do you know what your Xbox does?
This is true. This is the profound questioning right there.
All right, we're getting off topic a little bit.
Right. But I mean, like the gaming industry itself, it has evolved massively, and first-person shooters really, in my opinion, have brought a lot more of the gamers together outside of MMORPGs. I mean, WoW really brought every type of player out there. But I mean,
everybody played WoW.
First-person shooters like Counter-Strike, like GoldenEye, everyone has played it. Everyone has a story that they share and laugh about or get angry over, because it brings that emotion out in them. Everyone has that, and from where it came from to where it is now it's just an amazing evolutionary state. And I only look forward to the next, amazing first-person shooter to come out. I don't know what it's going to be on, but I mean, for me personally, first-person shooters are hard. They're difficult. They're fun to play, hard to master. You really got to put the time in.
That's a really good way to put it. They are fun to play, but to really master it takes a lot of time and a lot of skill, and it's not something that you can just pick up and master just straight away first time you're playing. It's not that type of a game. I mean, granted, few are, but it's definitely one of the ones where you have to invest time to really get good at it and to refine the skill set.
Mm-hmm. We're looking at you, Phil, with that one. Investing time. Get good at first persons.
I'm good. Well, I am so good. I run around with a pistol.
Everybody knows that you always run faster with a knife.
With the knife. Oh, God. I'm sorry. I know this might be going up slightly off topic. It's still within the same realm of the first-person shooters that we're talking about here, but mainly in Counter-Strike. The amount of angry videos I've seen of people who lose their mind because they got knifed.
It's the ultimate insult.
I guess I always thought teabagging was ultimate insult, but I guess that's even worse.
You know what's a good insult when playing a first-person shooter? Sneaking up on a sniper, putting a sticky bomb on his back, running across the map, waving at him, and sending him a message over Xbox Live. Hey, check your back. Then boom, they die. That's insulting.
That sounds like a lot of effort. That's a lot of effort. Like, I would much rather just walk up, stab, and then teabag, laugh, and run away.
That's my brother. He did that like 5 times in one match.
I'm amazed.
He's crazy.
Speaking of which, when are we going to see him on Titanfall?
On the next Twitch we do. He's got it installed already. He's ready to go.
All right. Well, we'll keep that in mind. I'm not sure if anyone else is aware that sometimes lately it's becoming a trend to have a friendly get-together on Twitch and play some Titanfall until I actually myself get Overwatch, and then we'd all play that shit.
That's next weekend. Which, by the way, I just want to mention that if nobody is aware, Overwatch will be free to play on Xbox, on PlayStation, and on PC. I believe next Friday through Sunday, 18th through the 21st, I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be free to play. So if you haven't played it, strongly advise that you go download it, play that shit. You will enjoy it.
It's free. You can't go wrong.
Free is affordable for everybody.
Look for Phil Stop, Xbox Live.
Mm-hmm. And you already see mine. Tag will be RM4M Matt Ram. You'll see it. You'll see us. You'll see us running around. You'll see me die a lot. If I'm on your team, I apologize.
Our Titanfall episodes on Twitch are always called Rated M for Matures Attack on Titan. Fall 2.
Oh, good lord. I'm only appeasing this just because I like Attack on Titan. But we do a live stream of Titanfall literally every weekend. Hell, possibly tonight. We don't know. We'll keep people informed, but always look forward on the weekends. Always look forward to something like that.
Before we move on, I wanted to touch on Overwatch a little bit and what makes it so special.
Please do.
Please.
Overwatch is so special because it kind of mixes a MOBA and a first-person shooter. Not like the other one that you guys mentioned where it actually had lanes and counters, but you have champions that you're playing. On normal shooters, you're just a character and you pick up weapons and you choose the weapons that fit your style of gameplay. Whereas in Overwatch, you're picking a champion to play and they have specific skill sets and weapons, so you have to play a role on your team to achieve the goal. And this is why there's such a huge following for Overwatch. There's actually international tournaments for these for this game, like the Korean Cup and then the North American Cup that just passed not too long ago. Is your teamwork has to be on par with the teamwork that's required in a MOBA to win the game, and to hold your targets and to be on offensive, and you really have to use your skills. So it's such a great team playing game in a first person arena that just really tests your skill as a fighter. I mean, you can't really call it anything else but a fighter when you're in an arena like that.
So
no, I agree.
I was just doing a little bit of research on Overwatch because I was genuinely curious. So I'm going to give you some information and then ask you a question. So
7.
Overwatch was released on
42?
May 24th, 2016. In that time, how many monthly players do you think Overwatch has? Not combined, but in less than 7 months since release. What do you think their monthly gameplay is at right now for Overwatch globally?
You mean how many players log in?
How many
and play
players
Overwatch?
per month is Overwatch seeing?
Shit, I don't even know. I can't answer that.
Take a guess.
That's let's say, we'll just say like 5,000.
No, I'm thinking more on like World of Warcraft, StarCraft levels. We're talking millions play this game.
Oh yeah,
Monthly.
monthly.
Easy.
Take your guess.
I already did.
I'm gonna say 5 mil.
You think 10,000, Matt? Are you sure you don't want to revise that?
Hell to the no. I'm
Significantly?
terrible at guessing. I don't like guessing games. Give me the facts, brother.
20 million.
I'm sorry, repeat that one more time.
20 million people a month are playing Overwatch.
Motherfucker. That's a lot of people.
25% higher than World of Warcraft's highest monthly subscriber total.
God.
Because the highest that I recall, I want to say, was 16.6 million, if memory serves me right. And I could be a little wrong on that, but that's what I recall as their highest. But yeah, in 6 months, 6.5 months, they have over 20 million players on Overwatch. And not only that, but Blizzard as a whole reported 42 million unique users in the third quarter that just ended. Combined, and that's between Overwatch and World of Warcraft and all of their shit. 42 million
impressive.
combined.
That is impressive.
Half is Overwatch.
That is
cool.
the most amazing thing ever to be heard outside of
blends
WoW.
two elements, and Blizzard really hit a gold mine here because they're using their storytelling powers. I mean, look at their freaking trailer videos. They could make like a freaking
so
movie.
good.
You could make a movie out of that shit, you know? And
seriously,
the storytelling for each character, the backstory, and how they intertwine, and then you put it into a quick 10, 15-minute match, you know, and then the servers are solid because we're talking about Blizzard here. So you're getting match after match after match.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a good time. Plus, you could practice against dummies. You know, you're
and not just on the internet.
Yeah. So locally and on the internet. So Overwatch, Blizzard did a really good job with this one. Really good job. Kudos, Blizzard.
They definitely stepped up with their competitive seasons, which there are some things within Overwatch specifically, and I know we're kind of running a little long on Overwatch specifically, but I mean,
Perfectly
20
fine.
million subscribers a month. I'm okay with being a little long on it, anyways. But there are still some elements within Overwatch that bother me. Little things like I myself wound up getting penalized because I dropped from a non-competitive game. I had a penalty of a 75% XP reduction for 5 games, which made absolutely no sense to me. And competitive, no problem. It's competitive. It's ranked. I completely understand. On non-competitive, what the fuck? You will backfill in non-competitive. Why the fuck am I getting penalized because I dropped? Because honestly, I think I've dropped from maybe 30 matches in my 59 hours of gameplay, and I got penalized for dropping once. Are you
very
serious?
interesting. It's very weird, that especially on a non-competitive side up there where it's basically might as well be exhibition matches, that you're still getting kind of like...
Yeah, I got
punished
pretty
for-
fucking pissed off. I reamed them over a course of about 4 or 5 tweets a couple of months back, and I actually stopped playing Overwatch and almost uninstalled it for about 6 weeks. I did not even open the game. I was
For those who aren't
furious.
aware, Andy Man is a letter writer.
I will send a sternly worded email via Twitter on the internet from my phone, if I get pissed off. I will get angry. I don't do it very often because I've been in customer service for a long enough time. I know what it's like to be on the other side of those emails. But there are some things that's like, what the fuck are you doing? You have to be smarter than this. I actually had this with Spotify last night, but that's also another story for another day.
He doesn't do it often, but when he does it well. Dos Equis, take their
I had to do it once to Comcast. One time to Comcast.
Why would you want to write anything to Comcast?
No, it was on the phone, and I told the lady that she needs to get another career because this is not the right one for her.
It's terrible. Sidetracking, but yeah, I know where you're getting at.
We can continue on that, but we probably should save that for another day. We could have another podcast on Comcast horror stories. But Overwatch is an absolutely fantastic game. I think it captures a lot of different elements that I think people really enjoy. Me specifically, what I really enjoy is that unlike World of Warcraft, you have a lot of different characters that can do a lot of different things, but you have characters that can counter that very specifically. So if everyone plays to their character role and the team is balanced correctly, there is no reason why every single match shouldn't be very, very competitive if people are smart enough to change characters throughout the course of a map. Also, in non-competitive matches, I am yet to have one last longer than 15 minutes.
Oh, that's good then. Because
on average, it's about 9 to 10 minutes per match.
Because when you think of a MOBA, most games on average is usually about an hour
and a half. Which we haven't really touched on it, but with Battlefield 1, I absolutely love the multiplayer on that game because it is one of those games where it is kind of a niche game, but it is a game where you can't just pick it up and excel at it. It definitely requires a different kind of patience than Call of Duty or Titanfall or Gears or Overwatch. It requires an investment in time to really get good and to understand the physics of bullet trajectory on how bullets, when they hit rocks, how do they kick? When you shoot through a wall, how does it impact? Watching, if you're sniping, how does the bullet drop over distance? If you have to calculate for wind, for movement, all of these different things that are very realistic to real life. And I have a huge appreciation for it. The thing that absolutely kills me about Battlefield 1's multiplayer is the fact that it takes so fucking long to level. It should not take 6 or 7 games to go up one level when you're level 2.
That's pretty bad. That's a really high bar for leveling up. It's so bad.
EA must have hired Korean MMO game designers to make the grind that fucking bad.
Yeah,
it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, but so I don't want to go too much more into any of the current games because I'm doing a ton of recording over this next week. I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to be uploading once I get it done. I'm going to be doing a brutally honest game review for Battlefield 1, for Titanfall 2, for Call of Duty. All of those are going to get a brutally honest game review, both for the story and for the multiplayer independently, because I feel they need to be treated as separates and not as a collective thing. And I'm hoping that I can do something for Overwatch, but I don't know if I'm honestly going to have enough time, because that is going to take a lot of time to capture all of that gameplay and to edit it, and it's just going to be a lot of work. But I'm on vacation, so I can do it.
Whatever. It's your vacation.
Whatever.
Yeah. So everyone look forward to those reviews when they drop, because they're going to be pretty epic when it comes to Andy Man and his thoroughness. Yeah, it's going to be good stuff.
Thank you.
I think here would be a good ending point. I think we've touched on a lot. We've touched on the history of the FPS, the evolutionary state, going from PC to console to LAN party to online to esports, MLGs, to current games and the future of the FPS.
Before we go, I just wanted to interject on what I think, if you're not sure which of the first or third person shooter games you should be looking at. If you prefer the third person shooter like Phil does, for example, Gears is probably going to be your way to go. There are some exceptions to that in Titanfall and some elements of Battlefield, but not absolute. If you want a game that uses vehicles like tanks, cars, motorcycles, Battlefield 1 is the way to go. Or if you want a game that is going to be very high skill-based, massive maps, and the ability to do a lot of different things within the scope of one game, Battlefield is your game. If you want something that is going to be very quick pace, very rapid pace, breakneck speeds, Call of Duty's multiplayer is going to be probably the game to go, because that is incredibly fast-paced. I was just actually playing just before we hopped on here. Mm-hmm. If you want something that's high-paced but not breakneck speed, I would say Titanfall is the way to go when it comes to multiplayer.
Yeah, and I'd also would suggest, if you like to be strategic with your gameplay, Overwatch would probably be the best way to go about it, because you can't just go guns a-blazing in Overwatch. You're going to get fucking demolished. You got to have that really does require teamwork, communication, and knowing your role.
Yep.
Speaking of knowing your role, don't forget third-person shooter, The Division, especially with the survival patch coming out. The survival patch is going to be amazing. It's the last one for the season pass that came along when the game released. But it's also a very, very solid third-person shooter, especially after they fixed a bunch of the bugs in the game.
Mm.
Yeah, I need to reinstall that. First, I need to get an external hard drives, because I'm basically out of space with my 46 gigs remaining of space. It's not even enough to fit one game.
Yeah.
But I need to pick up an external and reinstall that, because I haven't played in quite some time since the second incursion point.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't even bought the damn thing. I haven't played it since the initial beta.
It's pretty solid. Give it a shot.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's a quick game. It's just there's just not a lot of content, which is what killed me on that.
Mm.
It's a lot like Borderlands. If Borderlands had an end game to it, you'd just be roaming around collecting gear and figuring out which gear, was best for how you played.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, that's our suggestions. All this stuff here is our opinion based. I always have to say this at the end of every podcast. Everything that we speak on here is opinion based. Yes, I know I don't have to, but I'm going to, because some people might want to be assholes.
With that.
Yeah. Disclaimers, bruh. Disclaimers. And also, to be on the lookout for a lot more content going up on our channel, like we already specified with our Andy's really honest game reviews on Titanfall, Call of Duty, and Battlefield, that's a lot. That's a daunting task in itself.
I'll have Mafia 3 up soon, and if Andy Man doesn't cover it, I'm going to do a lot of coverage of my own adventures in Overwatch, and that should be pretty exciting. If not entertaining, because I'm probably shot ahead.
You are you have it on Bone, right?
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to do it on Bone, that's fine, because I do it almost exclusively on PC. So I'll do the free play on the Bone next week when it's free. But yeah, no, go for it. I mean, because I still think that they're different games.
I'm actually going to buy the collector's edition for the PS4 as well.
Nice,
very nice.
So that way I can play with my PS4 brethren. And really enjoy some gameplay with the community on PlayStation Network. Look forward to it.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and also look forward to a lot of my old school classic gameplays every Thursday. This Thursday, unfortunately, I didn't put up an episode because I was hoping to get my hands on a Nintendo Entertainment System Classic, the NES Classic that just dropped today.
Yes.
Fortunately, everywhere I went has sold out by mid-afternoon. So I was kind of SOL. Though we'll probably be doing a lot more of the Mega Man series. If you haven't seen it already, I've been doing a lot of the Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. Fantastic game.
That has been very enjoyable, I will concede. I've been watching that.
We're almost done with that series, and I'm actually going to move on to some legit Mega Mans, because I do own the Mega Man Legacy Collection. So a lot of Mega Man 1 through 6. Having a great time with that. I'll probably actually do some live streams later on that. But always look forward to more Rated M for Mature. Follow us on Twitter. That right there tells you everything that we're doing when it comes to content, when it comes to podcasts, discussions. If you want to just have a conversation on Twitter, just post something up on there.
Holla at your boys.
Check us out on Twitch. All the links are in descriptions below. We appreciate everybody who watches our stuff here. We appreciate all those who comment, and we do comment back. But yeah, check us out. And final thoughts, everybody. Andy, hit me.
Well, I can't. You're too far away from me right now.
That'd be kind of weird if you could.
A little bit. Need that slap button on my keyboard. Need to get that installed. First-person shooters are awesome, and to win at first-person shooters, you have to kill them more than they kill you.
It's the rule of sportsing.
Well, I mean, I really hope that that's not a rule in baseball. I mean, kill them more than they kill you. I mean, that's
I don't know.
That's a little aggressive. I mean, we're not in ancient Rome here. It's not.
I don't know. That'd make it more interesting to watch.
It would make it more interesting. I mean, with Trump as president, I mean, that could be a thing. But no, we shouldn't go into politics. That's
no. Well,
let's just leave it. Let's just leave it right there. In video games, to win, you have to kill them more than they kill you.
Phil, final thoughts. Oh shit, he's getting up close. He's getting serious.
My final thoughts for this episode are going to revolve around skill, patience, and endurance. You have to practice. You have to play, and no matter win or lose, you have to go out there and give it your best. I mean, I suck at first-person shooters. It's not my thing, but it's a lot of fun playing with your buddies and competing on the same level of talent. But at the end of the day, it is a game. Regardless of who wins, you congratulate the other team, and it's all one love because there's a lot of stuff going on out there, and we just need to stick together and treat each other with respect because we are the future, and we got to teach the kids that too.
Wow, that was very profound. Thank you for that. I don't know what else I could say after that. That's
very philosophical.
Fuck, he didn't ruin it. You done ruined it, Phil. You were good. You were here, and then you said that, and you just went right back to Phil.
There's expectations of me that have to be met, and every
occasionally exceeded.
Every moment of greatness must be countered with a moment of Philness.
But in seriousness, yes, first-person shooters, they're hard, but don't take them seriously. They're fun to play. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy the game. Because once you lose that aspect, it's you're not playing anymore. You're just getting angry. Don't be that guy. Don't be that asshole.
Be happy.
Live, love, and game.
And eat pizza. Eat pizza.
Yes, pizza. And bacon.
Which a lot of us are probably going to wind up going to get later. So not together. Let's get that in mind. But I mean, yeah.
Why? You don't want to eat a pizza with me, bro? Come on.
I see how it is.
You guys are 6 hours away from me.
Whose fault is that?
We would eat together if we were in the same vicinity.
We will when we jump on some Titanfall. Okay.
I'm saying, you guys are great.
Or Overwatch. It depends if I feel like it.
Keep an eye out, guys. We'll be doing a live stream at some point this weekend. At least two of us, if not all of us, and I'll be on probably quite a bit over the next week or so while I'm on vacation. Basically, my life will consist of video games and playing hockey. So, good times.
Anyway, with that, you guys, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. We appreciate everything that you guys, check us out, subscribe to us, give us those thumbs ups, thumbs downs, comment. Till then, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Stay thirsty, my friends.